what is next for Gervonta Davis? Now, I'm not going to get into his personal life. I know he got arrested and he's going through law problems right now. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about boxing-wise. Who do we want to see him fight next? Well, the Isaac Cruz rematch is what we need, is what we want, because we've seen that fight. I watched that fight 100 times. I don't think once Gervonta Davis won that fight. I think it was either a draw or I could give it to Isaac Cruz. So, again, I want to see that fight happen. I want to see that rematch. Now, Gervonta Davis did say in the post-interview that he doesn't want a rematch. He said, why would I rematch him if I already beat him? Now, whatever Gervonta Davis said, the fans aren't happy with that because we definitely want to see that rematch against him. Now, who's left on the table? Who hasn't he beaten? He hasn't beaten Devin Haney, the guy with all the belts at 135. Now, I heard that Devin Haney is actually going to 140. But again, I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but I heard that he wants to go for the belts at 140. But I think Devin Haney versus Gervonta Davis will actually outsell Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis because they both are in their prime. A lot of people argue that Ryan Garcia wasn't in his prime when he fought Gervonta Davis, but Devin Haney is definitely in his prime, and Gervonta Davis is in his prime. So again, how do I see this fight happening? Who do I think will win? Well, Devin Haney, all he really has is a good jab. Yeah, he might have skills, but he gets caught a lot, as we've seen with him and Lomachenko. He gets caught with a lot of combinations. So again, if he were to get that power against Gervonta Davis, I don't think that he will stand even 6 rounds with Gervonta Davis. Now, what other elite fighter is on the table? I think Shakur Stevenson is on the table. Obviously, you know, they will argue about who's the A side, what they fight at 130, 135. But we have to see this fight happen because Shakur Stevenson hasn't really proven anything with anybody. He hasn't fought any elite fighter. So him going up to 135 and fighting Gervonta Davis will mean a lot for his career. How do I see this fight going? I see Gervonta Davis again knocking him out because Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought a knockout artist like Gervonta Davis. So I see Gervonta Davis knocking him out in less than 8 rounds.
Another potential fight for Gervonta Davis, which is kind of out of the ordinary, it could be Teofimo Lopez. If Teofimo Lopez decides to come back and, you know, maybe still fight at 140 or come down at 135, because we have seen it happen, he could meet Gervonta Davis at 135, or Gervonta Davis could go up to 140 and make a big fight happen. But how do I see this fight going if it was to happen? Although it's kind of out of the ordinary, like I said, I see it going toe-to-toe. I see Teofimo Lopez putting up a good fight with Gervonta Davis, but we know Gervonta Davis. We know how his fights end. I feel like Gervonta Davis could easily knock him out, or maybe TKO. You know, because we know Gervonta Davis. We've seen him fight against the best, and what has he done against the best? He's proven everybody wrong, or he's proven the odds wrong. But here's the thing. Besides all that, let's talk about the only 2 fights that could really happen. I think it's Shakur and Devin Haney. But instead of Gervonta Davis going out and fighting and picking one of those and fighting one of those, I feel like the best thing that could happen is Devin Haney goes up against Shakur Stevenson. We see who's the best, because right now, I feel that's the best rivalry in boxing is Shakur versus Devin Haney. They're talking about who's the best, who's the most skilled fighter, and they fought before in the amateurs and in sparring. So in my opinion, I feel like that's the best fight that could happen. They fight together, we see who comes out on top, and then Gervonta Davis fights the winner of that fight.